A spiritual narcissist is someone who uses their faith to manipulate and control people. Ever wondered if whether your preacher or guru or even a family member might be a spiritual narcissist? Well, stay tuned and I'll show you the signs to watch out for and how to cope with this. And I'll even give you a free recommendation report towards the end to assess where you are on your healing journey. There are a couple of untold truths I'm going to be revealing to you about the spiritual narcissist. Truth number one, scripture. They will use the scripture to manipulate you and to justify their actions. There might be instances whereby using the scripture to either hurt you or to justify their bad actions. What you'll notice is in some instances, they might be saying one thing and doing another thing. For instance, the scripture might say to profess love or to do things with love, but they're not doing this. You'll find that they're very good at memorizing passages and verses in the scripture, but they don't simply walk the talk. And what they might also do, they might use parts of the scripture to benefit them while ignoring other parts that just simply contradict. My advice in this situation is to study that scripture for yourself directly, because that would help you to know and be enlightened to these manipulative tactics. It's very easy, especially in certain establishments like this, to gain a form of control using faith to manipulate people. This is actually a very good breeding ground for the spiritual narcissist, and you need to be very grounded in yourself and in your spirit, studying whatever scripture it is that you have as per your religion to be able to protect yourself. So this is something you need to be very wary of. I'll give you an example. They might say things like, they like open communication. They want to understand your viewpoints, and they want to encourage that within their dominion or capacity, whether it's in a church or wherever it is. But what you'll find eventually is that they might ridicule you, they might publicly criticize you while still telling you that they love you as a brother. So you need to be very wary of this, not to be confused and to know the difference. Simply judge by their actions. Are their actions in line with the scripture of your faith? You need to be very careful with this. Truth number two, they never admit to their mistakes. What you'll find is there will be cases where they just seem to never take ownership of responsibility for what they've done. They seem to be perfect, the perfect, preacher. They can never be seen to do anything wrong. I mean, let's face it, at the end of the day, no one likes to admit they're wrong. No one likes to be criticized. But one thing you need to realize is self-reflection and accountability for certain things, and admitting to your mistakes is part of and parcel of being an empathetic human being and relating. But what you'll find in these instances is maturity is not by age, and a certain sense of maturity that you'll see is someone that's been able to admit to their mistakes. What you need to realize is that a spiritual narcissist, they will continue to defend their position till the end. What you need to see is that at the end of the day, they have a self-image to protect in whichever establishment that they're in. So it's very important to them to protect that self-image and to be put on a pedestal. So admitting they're wrong is going to damage that image. It's like they need to protect that image, that falsehood that they have, and they simply cannot do that. And if you find and realize this is another unspoken truth about a spiritual narcissist. Sometimes you might even find you have pure evidence to prove their mistake, but they will still deny this. Do you need any clearer sign or truth in regards to this? No, you're not going crazy. This is actually real, and this can happen to you, and does happen to people around the world. So these truths, you need to be very specific and aware of this. And if you're enjoying the episode so far, kindly like, subscribe, a comment, and hit the notification bell, because this also helps the channel to reach out to other people like yourself as well. Another truth they might use is they will use spirituality to bring you down. So spirituality is supposed to inspire you and bring you up and lift your spirit. However, they will use this to control you. So if I'll just elaborate on that, they might do things to make you feel afraid, to coerce you into certain actions by using spirituality or whatever they have in a religious form to control you. So rather than actually inspiring you and inspiring your life, they might even give you some form of punishments or use some sort of form of blackmail to ensure they have you under their control. So they might even use it to also humiliate you as well. And this happens at times all around the world. I've interviewed people, even some pastors in the past that used to be pastors in some establishments, and they will be treated, in some form of a way that they're not even listened to. So you need to be very aware of it. They might even at some point you be a religious narcissist in a sense that they love bomb you at some stage. But at the end of the day, they need to have you under their control. And if you step out of line, they will definitely issue you some threats in order to ensure you're still under their control. Truth 4, and I believe I mentioned this briefly earlier, but it is love. Love should be in action and not in words. So one of the easiest ways to identify a spiritual narcissist is to see if their actions line up with their words. Are they actually doing things out of love? Are they doing things to care for you? Are they showing you the way out of love? Is it an unconditional love? This is ultimately what it should be if we're talking in the context of spirituality. So you need to be spiritually aware of this and when it's happening. Love is more than just words, it's actions as well. And this is ultimately what separates a true empath from a spiritual narcissist. It is love. What is the capacity to show that love to you in their actions, in whichever establishment they may be? And it's going to be practical things that are going on. Maybe are there things going on in your life that you need them to show support, or are they contradictory, and are they prioritizing other things within their establishment that is going to be better for their self-image? There needs to be a sense of sacrifice and selflessness for you to express that love to you. You need to be able to connect and feel that in your spirit. But if you're not feeling that, and it's something else, and which is not love, and you need to be careful, because at some point they might religiously love bomb you, and you'll be yearning for that, and there's so much reliance on them, as in within that capacity or establishment. And if you notice that happening, you're already on the wrong track, because if you really want to go deep in spirituality, it should be to the above. You should be searching whatever scripture you need for yourself without any total dependence on whether it's a preacher or a guru. So yes, seek guidance from them, but the ultimate leadership in that spirituality is for them to lead you to the higher power or above. So you need to be very aware of this when it's going on. Their love should be expressed in their actions, and not just to be said or used in scripture. But let's see how they're actually taking care of you. Another truth is poor communication. So at the end of the day, communication is not just about talking, but also listening. So you find in some cases, they might not be listening to you and what your needs are to actually feel emotionally heard. You don't feel that. You don't feel you're getting that from them. Many people turn to spiritual leaders for reassurance and support. So already they have a huge responsibility being in that position. But you'll find, on the contrary, spiritual narcissists are actually incapable of listening, because at the end of the day, they always want to be the center of attention, and they always want the attention to be on them and to be always talking. So you'll find if they're doing more talking than actually listening, this could be another sign of a spiritual narcissist you're dealing with. And this can not just happen in religious establishments, this can even happen in families as well. It's always their way or the highway. They should be able to listen and provide genuine support, but you'll find that they're usually very loud or very outspoken about their ideals and the way they believe things should be. You'll also discover that they might also be easily offended. This is something also to be wary of when you notice this sign. And you'll also find if you're not actually listening to their advice, it would actually make them more angry, because it's like you were just simply disregarding them, and this affects their self-image and also their ego as well. So you want to be careful about that. So how do you actually go about dealing with a spiritual narcissist then? Because you'll find in some situations that it might even be difficult to go no contact. That might be the easiest option to just think of, to just simply go no contact and break that. But it's not in all situations, especially if you are in a family or a certain religious establishment where it might not be so easy to just simply leave. So what do you do? Because at the end of the day, the spiritual narcissist will meticulously pick people that they believe are vulnerable. They'll be very selective about who they actually reveal their full nature to. So if you're getting to be spiritually aware of certain things, they might be a bit more careful and tread more carefully in order for you not to expose them to others. And this is one of the reasons why their toxic behaviors can go unnoticed for quite some time. And this is very abusive emotionally to certain people. And if you're getting to be more aware of these truths, I can tell you that the truth can then truly set you free. So what my advice would be is set boundaries. Set certain periods of time that you're going to limit with this spiritual narcissist. If you can't completely go no contact, then you need to set strict boundaries with this. Is it certain things they're forcing you to do? Are they taking up considerable amounts of your time? Don't forget, they're not your master. If you want to get spiritual guidance that goes from above, they're just a vessel and a guide. Your life is not dependent on them. So you need to set specific boundaries that are going to protect yourself, you mentally, your spirituality, and to ensure you're also seeking that divine power for yourself, okay? And that will give you more insight. And like I said, the truth will honestly set you free if you seek it and continue to seek it, whether it be meditation, whether it be studying the scriptures yourself, whatever religion you're into, and just seeking that divine power yourself through meditation as well, and things will be revealed to you. You also want to limit the amount of personal information that you do share with them as well. You want to be very careful with that, because they can simply use it against you in future. So you want to be very wary about that. Be very firm, because at the end of the day, spiritual narcissists, they don't like to respect boundaries. So you need to be very assertive and very firm in the boundaries that you do set, because trust me, they will try to break them. So do you believe you're in a situation where you're suffering from these truths from a spiritual narcissist? Is it in religious establishment? Is it with a romantic partner? Or is it with a family member? Well, I have a free recommendation report to determine where you are on your healing journey. So click on the link right down below and it will give you a free assessment report that will guide you on your steps and recommendations to your recovery as well. And in case you missed this fantastic interview I had with John McKenney about spiritual narcissism in the church, then click right here and it will take you through in depth what he experienced real life of spiritual narcissism in the church.